Welcome back to Birds of a Feather. This is your daily Baltimore sports podcast. My name is Nathan Stroud, and today we've got a lot of stuff to go over regarding the Baltimore Orioles, who had by far, hands down, their best win of the season. They went out there today, they got a 4-3 win over the Seattle Mariners to tie this series 1-1, heading into the rubber match game tomorrow afternoon. But not only did the Orioles get a win today, the Orioles got a walk-off win today. Their first walk-off win of the season. Jackson Holliday drove in the winning run. The winning run was Dylan Carlson, who scored from first. There was 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth inning. Dylan Carlson got a single, and then Jackson Holliday was able to bring him home with a base hit. It was a base hit that went to the right field corner, went all the way to the corner. Dylan Carlson hauled his ass around the bases and ended up scoring the run from first. It was an absolutely electric day for the Orioles. The best win of the season by far, the most electric win of the season by far. And this was also the first Orioles walk-off of the season. If you guys did not know, the Orioles were the only team in all of baseball to not have a walk-off win this year, and it's been like that for like over 2 months. I think every team in baseball had a walk-off win by like the end of June, and we're sitting here almost in the middle of August, and the Orioles still did not have a walk-off win. And we talked about that in yesterday's episode, how the Orioles had a chance to walk off the game yesterday over the Mariners, but they fell short and lost yesterday 1-0. Today, the offense was looking slow for the most part for a lot of the game. Jeremiah Jackson had a Little League home run that brought in 2 runs in the 7th inning, where the Orioles eventually took a lead. And then in the top of the 9th inning, Yennier Cano gave up 2 runs. The Mariners tied it 3-3 in the 9th inning, and it just felt like one of those games that, you know what? It was too good to be true. The Mariners tied the game in the 9th inning, and it just felt like the Orioles were going to come up short on a potential walk-off win. But instead of this game going to extras, Dylan Carlson was able to get a single, and Jackson Holliday was able to bring him home for the first walk-off win of the season. It was so cool seeing guys like Jordan Westburg, Kobe Mayo, Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson all just, celebrate around Jackson Holliday, pouring the Gatorade on him. It was a really cool moment. It was a really cool moment to see this year. And again, it was really cool to see, especially with the fact that, with everything that's gone on this year for the Orioles, with how disappointing it's been, with all the injuries that this team has occurred with all the starting pitching problems as well, just with everything going on, to see how happy the team was, to see how happy the city was. It really was like a breath of fresh air, and it really was a really just good feeling and good moment for this Orioles team, and a moment that is definitely 100% like the highlight of the year. Anytime your team gets a walk-off win, it's always such a special moment in sports and in baseball as well. And to see the Orioles get their first walk-off win this year, and for them to finally get one as well, was so cool to see. But this game in general was also just crazy. The scoring wasn't really there. The Orioles scored a run early because of a Ryan Mountcastle home run, and then they scored 2 more runs to make it 3-1 after the Jeremiah Jackson Little League home run that brought in 2 runs, and then obviously the walk-off at the end of the game. But other than Jackson Holliday, who got the walk-off, which obviously he's going to get the praise, he's going to get the love. Shout out to Jackson Holliday for having his moment. Not only is it the first Orioles walk-off of the season, but it's actually Jackson Holliday's first walk-off in general. So that was a really cool moment for him. But someone was pitching today for the Orioles. Someone was pitching today for the Orioles that we have kept a very close eye on over the past couple of months. And he's been somebody who is by far the certified ace of this team, and he once again certified his point and proved his point even more tonight. And his name is Trevor Rogers. And Trevor Rogers went out there once again against the hottest team in baseball. Well, not the hottest team in baseball. One of the hottest teams in baseball. The Brewers have won like 12 in a row. They've been insane. But the Mariners, in terms of the American League, have been the hottest team in baseball. They won 7 games in a row heading into this game today. And again, their offense has been on fire. Their offense has been great. Guys like Eugenio Suarez, obviously they have the home run leader in Cal Raleigh. They have Julio Rodriguez, J.P. Crawford, all of these great players. And Trevor Rogers, who is somebody who a lot of people, including myself, kind of counted out. Really didn't see him as an important part of this Orioles team moving forward. But not only is he an important part of this Orioles team and rotation moving forward, he just might be honestly the ace of this team, and he's proving himself to. He's having one of the best starting pitcher seasons this year. And again, the sample size is small. This was his 11th game he started this year, but the past 3 games that he has played were against the Cubs, the Phillies, and the Mariners today. And against the Cubs, he was incredible. Against the Phillies, he was incredible. And against the Mariners today, he was once again incredible. Another incredible game for Trevor Rogers. He continues to prove everybody wrong, and he continues to also prove why he is the ace of this Orioles team for the rest of the season and then heading into 2026, who he's probably going to be the opening day starter unless we make some crazy move to get a new pitcher. Trevor Rogers has got this thing on lockdown. But he gets through 7 innings of work today, only gives up 1 run. We'll talk about this more in a little bit, but let's just get right into this Orioles game. So going over this Orioles game, again, it was an absolutely bananas, bonkers win that the Orioles had. It was a walk-off. It was a walk-off win for the Orioles. It's something that they haven't had all season. And again, walk-offs in baseball are obviously a very special moment, but at the same time, they're not like impossible to get. The fact that the Orioles didn't have a single walk-off win up to this point was crazy. It was actually crazy that they didn't have a walk-off win up to now. But Jackson Holliday was able to deliver it and bring it home. It was his only hit of the game, but it also was the most important hit of the game, giving the O's the win. It was an electric atmosphere, an electric way to get a win. But going over this game in general, the offense had 9 total hits in this game. They scored 4 runs off of those 9 hits. They hit 1 home run, 1 Little League home run, which obviously doesn't count as a home run. It counts as there was an error that was involved. But 1 Little League home run, but 1 actual home run with Ryan Mountcastle. They went 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position, and they left 7 guys on base. So they did have a lot of opportunities early to score runs, but the Orioles scored 3 of their 4 runs in the 7th inning, and then obviously got the walk-off in the bottom of the 9th. But going over the offense in general, Jackson Holliday, again, had the biggest hit of the day. Player of the day on offense for sure. Goes 1 for 5 with an RBI. That RBI being the walk-off RBI. The walk-off, game-scoring RBI run for the Orioles in this game. Jackson Holliday gets the walk-off win for them. It also was his only hit of the day. And that was really cool to see him have that moment. Not only is the team having a walk-off win, but Jackson Holliday, the 21-year-old phenomenon, getting his first not maybe his first big true moment, but his first walk-off win of the season. I would say the first big moment he's had in his career was definitely his first home run when he had a grand slam. But this was definitely a close second. Getting a walk-off win, whether it's a base hit, whether it's a home run, it's always electric to see. Jordan Westburg in this game goes 1 for 3. Gunnar Henderson goes 1 for 4. Adley Rutschman doesn't get a hit. Ryan Mountcastle was the only player, or one of 2 players on the Orioles to have multiple hits in this game. He goes 2 for 3 with a solo home run. He had that back in the 7th inning. And then Ryan Noda didn't get a hit. Kobe Mayo went 1 for 4 with a run scored. He was the other run that scored off of the Little League home run by Jeremiah Jackson. And then Jeremiah Jackson came into this game as a pinch hitter. He came off the bench, went 1 for 2 with an RBI, obviously the Little League homer. It was an electric thing. He got a triple, and then it was thrown out of play, so he ended up scoring automatically. So that was a really cool moment. The Orioles ended up taking the lead after that play in the bottom of the 7th, where then eventually the game was tied, but then the Orioles obviously got the walk-off win. And then Dylan Carlson in this game was the other Oriole with multiple hits. He went 2 for 4 with a run scored. And this was the second game of the series. Obviously, the Orioles tied this series up 1-1 going into the rubber match game tomorrow against the Mariners. But going over the pitching in this game, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't know how many times I can keep praising this guy. I don't know how many times I can keep mentioning his name. But Trevor Rogers, once again, had an absolutely phenomenal game today for the Orioles. He's once again proving that he is still such an elite player. His ERA in this game actually went down, which is actually crazy because his ERA coming into the game was a 1.44 and ended up dropping to a 1.43. So it dropped 0.01 ERA points. But still, for an ERA to be dropping that's already that low is crazy. Trevor Rogers in this game gets through 7 innings of work, gives up 4 hits, 0 walks, and only 1 run across 7 innings. He also picked up 6 strikeouts as well, and a 95 pitch count across 7 innings. He worked his ass off. He's been so unbelievably good for the Orioles this year. Again, a 1.43 ERA across 11 starts. He's gone 6 or 7 innings like every single game. It's actually been incredible. Shout out to Trevor Rogers for continuing to be an absolute beast for the Orioles this year. And hopefully he can keep this pace up over the next month and a half or so as we finish out this year of baseball. But if he does finish this out, if he does finish this season out with like under a 2 ERA, which at this point is looking very likely, I think Trevor Rogers is going to gain a lot of respect back from people, and I also think that he is 100%, unless we go out there and make a blockbuster trade or acquisition this offseason, I think that Trevor Rogers is going to be not only a key part of the rotation next year, but he is going to be the opening day starter for the Orioles next year, alongside guys like Kyle Bradish and hopefully Grayson Rodriguez. If the first 3 Orioles pitchers next year, I'm not going to lie, heading into next year with Grayson Rodriguez recently getting surgery on his elbow, and it's an injury that he was sustained. Obviously, he re-aggravated the injury, but they said that he should be ready to go by opening day and that he should be good to go sometime during training camp. It was considered a minor surgery, but hopefully Grayson Rodriguez will be available by the beginning of next year. Hopefully he'll be actually playing by opening day next year and he'll participate in spring training and all of that. But going into next season, if my starting pitching core is looking like Trevor Rogers, Kyle Bradish at full health, Grayson Rodriguez at full health, and then Dean Kramer as well, I will be very satisfied with that. Obviously, you have someone like Tomoyuki Sagano going into free agency. Brandon Young is 100% not going to be playing for the Orioles next year, or playing in the Orioles lineup next year. But then you have Cade Povich potentially being that 5th guy in your pitching core, or they're not going to re-sign Tomoyuki Sagano. I doubt that's going to happen. And then obviously Zach Eflin is out for the rest of the year, and he's also a free agent. They're not going to bring him back either. So I still do look for the Orioles to make a move this offseason at starting pitcher, whether that's going high or kind of going mid on it. But I do expect them to make a move. But this Orioles starting pitching core could look a lot more solidified and reliable this year than it did, or next year than it did this year. So that's something to look forward to. Dentrich Enns, who has been excellent for the Orioles this year in his little time playing here. We traded him from the Tigers. He got through 1 inning, didn't give up a run. Yennier Cano got through 0.1 innings of work and gave up 2 runs. Horrible outing by Yennier Cano. He's been horrible all year. I'm going to be honest, I don't really know what his future in Baltimore looks like. He's sitting at a 5.5 ERA as a reliever, and there's been multiple times where he's just given up multiple runs and not even a full inning. So Yennier Cano's been horrible. He's just been god-awful this year, unfortunately. But hopefully, he can fix it and just get better, because I don't really know his status in the bullpen right now. I would say that he's him and Keegan Aiken are the 2 most reliable guys in the bullpen, but at the same time, that's not really saying much because this Orioles bullpen is absolute garbage. But Keegan Aiken does come into the game and actually gets the win in this game, gets through 0.2 innings of work and goes perfect. Doesn't give up anything. Only takes him 2 pitches to get through 0.2 innings of work. So overall, the pitching was very solid in this game, and a majority of that is thanks to Trevor Rogers. We actually ended up almost losing this game because of Yennier Cano, but Trevor Rogers unfortunately does not get the win because the Mariners did tie it up eventually. But Keegan Aiken gets the win. Trevor Rogers gets a win while starting. And overall, a good game by the pitching other than Yennier Cano. The bullpen is still a little bit of a disaster, but hopefully that is going to be addressed this offseason. But going into the game tomorrow is the rubber match. It is the rubber match of the series, and it's going to be 2 pitchers that have a very similar season so far in Logan Evans and Tomoyuki Sagano. The sample size is a little bit, actually quite a bit bigger for Tomoyuki. He's pitched almost 50 more innings than Logan Evans. Logan Evans is 6-4 with a 4.36 ERA and a 1.39 WHIP in 74 innings of work. And then Tomoyuki Sagano is 9-5 this year with a 4.2 ERA, a 131 WHIP, and 121 innings of work. So Tomoyuki Sagano, while he has let a lot of balls in play, while he does not really get a lot of swings and misses, the one thing that I will say about him is he really does push the innings this year. Even though he's a 35-year-old rookie, he's a 35-year-old pitcher. He's a really old player on this Orioles team. He's the oldest player on the Orioles. He really does go out there and push the innings. He's had like 3 pretty solid starts in a row. Against the A's, he got through 7 innings, only gave up 1 run. Against the Cubs, got through 5 innings, gave up 3 runs. That start's not incredible, but it's not like the worst thing in the world. And then against Colorado, got through 6 innings and gave up 1 run. So over the last 3 games, his starts have not been too bad. So hopefully he can keep up the good momentum against the Mariners, and hopefully the Orioles can get a series win tomorrow over Seattle. We're doing the Astros a big favor right now by winning these games. And hopefully Tomoyuki Sagano can get a win for the Orioles, and hopefully the Orioles can get a win over the Mariners, get a series win, and move on throughout the season. And then we do take on the Astros in Houston this weekend after tomorrow's game. So again, I'll have an episode up sometime tomorrow afternoon talking about Game 3 of the series. Hopefully the Orioles can get a series win and move forward through the season. But the other good thing about tomorrow is that tomorrow might be the final game before we call up Samuel Basallo and Dylan Beavers. This Friday, the 15th, is the day where they're eligible to get called up, and it won't affect their service time. And I think 95% of my head, that's what Mike Elias is waiting for, because with the way that they're performing in AAA, there's literally no godly reason that they should not be playing right now in the majors, other than the reason that he doesn't want it to affect their service time, because again, he does look at these guys as important parts of this Orioles team moving forward, and he doesn't want to mess anything up, and he wants to keep them under this rookie deal as long as possible. So we are hopefully going to be seeing them very, very, very soon, within the next 2 days, hopefully, and then hopefully, I don't really know if there's like a time thing or if they can just call them up like the morning of the 15th, but on the morning of the 15th, if they do get called up, I'm obviously going to have an episode talking about it the minute that they do it, and then hopefully they can be available for this weekend series against the Astros. That'll be very, very cool to watch. I don't know if they do both of them at the same time or if they do one of them, but if they do only decide to do one of them, I do think they're going to do Dylan Beavers. I think Basallo is obviously better than Beavers, but Beavers just makes more sense because of the whole outfield situation going on with the Orioles. But we'll see when that time comes here very, very, very soon. But the Orioles get a win today. Hopefully they can get a series win tomorrow and move on from there. But thank you guys so much for tuning into and listening to this episode of Birds of a Feather. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe on YouTube and follow up on Spotify, and also make sure to like the video on YouTube as well. And if you click the link in the bio of whatever platform you're listening on, you can follow my Twitter and my Instagram. Make sure to give those a follow. I'm giving live updates on anything that happens throughout the Orioles and upcoming Ravens season as well. So make sure to tune into that. Obviously, Ravens season is right around the corner here in the next few weeks. This weekend, they're actually playing another preseason game, which we're going to go over this Saturday night as well. So that's going to be exciting. Hopefully, we can see more guys like LeJonte Wester. We can see more of Mike Green and Malachi Starks, and it'll be a lot of fun to watch. So I'll have an episode talking about that this weekend. I'll have an episode up tomorrow, sometime tomorrow afternoon, talking about the Orioles game against the Mariners. And hopefully the Orioles can get a series win there. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. You have a great sales day. Go O's, go Ravens, and I'll see y'all later. Peace out.